guys, welcome to Boson's Botany. So in this lecture, I'm starting with structural aspect of monosaccharide. So if you have not watched my previous videos, which are made on basic concepts on monosaccharide, oligosaccharide, polysaccharide, so please watch those videos. Links are in the description box, and it is important that you clarify your basic and then you come to this one, because now onwards I will make videos on structural aspects on monosaccharide, oligosaccharide, polysaccharide, and the lecture series will be in bits and pieces. So in this video only 4 to 5 slides I have included, and in my next video I will continue with this topic. So please go and watch my previous videos. Okay, so let's start. So structural aspect of monosaccharide, this is very important to understand, because if you do not know the structure of monosaccharide, you cannot formulate the structure of disaccharide, or for instance oligosaccharide, polysaccharide, and you cannot understand the structure of cyclized compounds, how the cyclization takes place, how the bond formation takes place, everything related to higher molecules, polysaccharide, oligosaccharide, and for those structures you need to understand the structural aspect of monosaccharide, because monosaccharide will make the basic units of oligosaccharide and polysaccharide. So structural aspect, this is basically telling you the stereoisomers that are formed by the compounds of monosaccharide. And stereoisomerism is an important character of monosaccharide. Why? That I have already told you. And stereoisomers, how can you understand stereoisomers? If the structural formula is same, but there is only difference in the spatial arrangement, or spatial configuration is different. Spatial configuration means the arrangement of atoms or groups attached to that particular compound are different in terms of their orientation. For instance, if I try to give you an example, very normal basic example. If this is an aldehyde group, there are 3 carbon atoms. This is carbon 1, 2, 3, and let me write groups as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are some different groups I have written, and this is compound 1 or molecule 1. Now let me tell you how you can understand stereoisomerism. Now as you can see, I have just shuffled, or I have just shifted these two groups. I have kept group 1 towards the right hand side and group 2 on the left hand side, and in this compound 2 the position of group 1 and group 2 are changed. Remaining everything is kept same, but only the position of group 2, group 1 has been changed in compound 1 and compound 2. So it is clearly defining that the structural formula is same, it is absolutely same, but only the difference is in their spatial configuration, because I have changed the position of group 1 and group 2 in compound 2. So this is giving you stereoisomerism. This will be clear in your further slides and in future videos also. So just keep this highlighted point in mind. This is something you need to remember, and it is very important. Now asymmetric carbon has 4 different atoms or groups, and this determines the possible isomers of a compound, and this is equals to 2 raised to n. For example, glucose is having 4 asymmetric carbon, and therefore there are 16 isomers, that is 2 raised to 4 will give you 16. So if I just go back to my last slide, as you can see, this carbon atom is having 4 different atoms. This is one atom or one group, this is another, this is another, this whole is a different group. So if a carbon is having 4 different groups or atoms bound to itself, for example, this is one atom or group, this is another group, this is another group, this is another group. So if a carbon atom is having 4 different groups, then that carbon will be asymmetric. Asymmetric. Or chiral. Chiral carbon. Okay. So let me write here asymmetric or chiral, and this will define its chirality. So asymmetric carbon or chiral carbon having 4 different atoms or groups, and if a carbon atom is not having different groups, then that carbon will be achiral carbon. If it is having same groups or same atoms attached to it, and this will give stereoisomerism. This will give different spatial arrangement of that compound or molecule. For instance, in glucose you will get 16 isomers, and this point I have explained in my monosaccharide video, where I have told you how you can actually count the numbers of asymmetric carbon, and you can find out number of isomers. That I have already explained in my monosaccharide video, so you can go and watch that video, then you can understand this line very clearly. So glyceraldehyde is used as a reference carbohydrate because glyceraldehyde is the basic compound. It is having only 3 carbon atoms. So glyceraldehyde is also known as triose because it is having 3 carbon atoms, and it is the simplest monosaccharide with one asymmetric or chiral carbon. It is having only one asymmetric or chiral carbon atom. It exists as 2 stereoisomer. Definitely it will have 2 stereoisomer because 2 raised to 1, because it is having only one asymmetric carbon, so therefore 2 stereoisomers, and it is used as a reference carbohydrate to represent the structure of all other carbohydrate. Okay, so this is very important, that glyceraldehyde is used as our base or reference carbohydrate, and it is having only one asymmetric carbon, therefore there are two stereoisomers. Now D and L form of carbohydrate, or D and L isomers, these are the mirror images. These are mirror images, and therefore they are non-superimposable. That I will tell you in my future video. Non-superimposable. Mirror images or non-superimposable structure of each other. The spatial orientation of OH and H groups on the carbon atom, especially carbon 5 for glucose, determines whether that sugar is D or L form. if the OH group is on the right hand side, then it's a D form, right? Then D form. And if it is towards the left hand side, the OH group is towards the left hand side, then it will be L form. And naturally occurring monosaccharide in mammals, in case of mammals, maximum they are D form. So what you need to remember, D and L isomers, they are mirror images, they are non-superimposable, and D and L form is defined on the basis of position of OH group. If OH group is on the right hand side, then it is D, otherwise it will be L form. And naturally D form is more prevalent in case of mammals. So what does non-superimposable mean? Let me just clear this here. Okay, if I just try to make a mirror here, okay, this is a mirror, and if this is my hand, this is the small finger or pinky, and this is my thumb. And if this is the mirror, and if you keep your another hand just on this side, then what will you get? Sorry, my drawing is very pathetic. Okay, so see, this is your small finger. I have made a star or asterisk on this small finger. So this is your small finger. This is absolutely its mirror image, right? This is absolutely its mirror image, and the thumb is towards the extreme of left. Here also the thumb is very away from the mirror. So this is your mirror image of your hand, but you cannot superimpose your hands on each other. If you try to superimpose, then this little finger will come on the thumb, and vice versa. You cannot superimpose. You cannot just superimpose your hands, but hand or your palm is the best example for mirror image. Similarly, D and L form, these are mirror images, but they cannot be superimposed on each other. This is something you need to understand, and this will be very clearly explained in in the future videos, where I will tell you optical isomerism, where these points will be defined in more detail. So let me just try to give you an idea of structural isomerism. So for example, this is glyceraldehyde. Glyceraldehyde, as I have already told you, it is the simplest form of carbohydrate having 3 carbon, and it is used as our base source of carbohydrate, base basic reference, whatever you wish to say, because it is having the minimum number of carbon atoms. So this is your D-glyceraldehyde, because here the hydroxyl group or OH group is towards the right hand side. Now how will you determine which hydroxyl group will define D and L isomerism? By just looking at the OH group or the alcohol group, which is just what to say, it is just towards the terminal end. Okay, just keep this in mind. The alcohol group which is just towards the terminal end of that molecule will tell you which hydroxyl group or which OH group you are supposed to select to define D and L isomerism. So I have given or attached arrows here to tell you these are my terminal alcohol group. These are my terminal alcohols. These are all terminal alcohols, and just next to this terminal alcohol, this is the OH group, and its position will tell you whether that compound is L form or D form. So terminal alcohol group will tell you which OH you need to select for L and D form. So just look for the terminal alcohol group, and immediately above that terminal alcohol group you will get your OH, and see whether that OH is towards your right hand side or left hand side, and accordingly D and L form will be assigned. So this OH is towards your right hand side, so this is your D-glyceraldehyde. This OH is towards the left hand side, so this is your L-glyceraldehyde. This OH is towards the right hand side, so this is the D-glucose. Why glucose? Because there are 6 carbons, and this glucose is L-glucose because the OH group is towards the left hand side. So yeah, this is the some points. These are some points regarding L and D isomers, and these are some very basic points that somehow cannot be understood clearly if you do not visualize structures, and I have tried to explain in a very simple manner how to understand D and L form, how to select which OH you need to have for assigning D and L isomerism, and everything regarding these things. So yeah, I am winding up today's lecture, and this topic will be uh, taught or carried forward in my future videos. So if you have not watched my previous videos, so please go and watch those, then understand these points, because biochemistry is a very difficult subject. I honestly deal biochemistry as one of the toughest topics, but I have tried to make simple videos so that I can clarify your concepts, and also I can understand where I am lacking, which is very important. So yeah, I hope you have understood these points, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, just hit the subscribe button, and share this video, hit the like button, and do not forget to comment down, let me know what else I need to add, and stay tuned with Boson's Botany. Thank you.